Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Freshest Sounds podcast with me, your host, Ross. Now, this episode is going to be very, very different. Now, it is a mental health episode, and on this episode, I am just going to be talking about the reasons why I have started it, and I'm going to talk about a mental health service as well. So, you're probably sat there watching now or listening, depending on what service you are using, what platform, sorry. And you're probably sat there scratching your head thinking, Ross, why are you doing mental health on a music podcast? And that, my friend, is a very, very, very good question. So the reason why I am doing mental health with the music side of things is because a lot of artists have said that they struggle with mental health. And that's one of the reasons why they are getting into the music side of things. So I had an idea one time and I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to open up the podcast to mental health. Now, I've already mentioned this on a previous episode, and the mental health episodes are going to be open for anyone who has or who is struggling with mental health, or if you are in the mental health profession. So that's it basically. Anyone can come on and talk about their issues, or they could talk about, their life story basically and how they have coped through certain things in life when times have been hard on them due to suffering with their mental health. Now, I suffer with mental health and I'm going to open up a little bit. So, my background story isn't the greatest. And, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to talk about it because it's only fair, innit? So, when I was born, I lived in Scotland with my real dad. And let's just say he wasn't a very nice man. He hurt me and my mum, and my mum left him, and it was me and my mum for a while until I was about 7 or 8 years old, and she met my dad now, and let's just say me and him don't really see eye to eye, and things have happened, and yeah, it's just put me in a bit of a situation. It put my mum in a bit of a situation as well, and I had to leave home basically, and I'm in sheltered accommodation. Yeah, I live with people who are drug users, people who are alcohol users, and my situation isn't the greatest, but I sit here, put on a brave face, and get on with life. Yeah, I've attempted suicide, and, I've had to go to hospital for it, and I've had to have meetings for it. So, I feel like it's good to open up myself so people can understand, because if I just sit here and be like, oh yeah, well, X, Y, Z, blah, 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 and people are like, well, how do you know, Ross, what it feels like? Trust me, I know what it feels like. Like, I could be sat in a room full of 100 people and I still feel alone. So, yeah, I really, really do understand that side of things as well. So, yeah, that's a little bit of me. Not all of me, a little bit. I could go into a lot more detail, but I just think it's fair to open up a tiny bit to the people who are tuning in. Now, obviously, I suffer with epilepsy. Well, it's not obviously, but I suffer with epilepsy. I suffer with depression and anxiety. And you probably sat there thinking like, well, you can do that, like you can do your podcast and everything. But in the morning, it is such a struggle. Every single morning, it is a struggle. I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to have anything to eat. I just don't want to do anything, really. And some people may call it lazy, but it's not lazy. You know what I mean? And if you are, going through the same as me with depression and anxiety, you'll understand. And I want to get this message across to people who don't understand and just think like, oh, we're just lazy bone idle people, when we're not. Like, we have so much drive, and I have so much drive and ambition in me. Like, you wouldn't believe the stuff that I've been up to recently. And obviously, people know the music side of the podcast, but they don't know, the real you. Because when you walk down the street and you bump into someone, you're like, oh, how are you doing? Are you all right? And it's like, yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, good. That's it. But next time, be that person who says, no, you know what? I'm not all right. Why? What's wrong? This is what's wrong. X, Y, Z, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. And you'll probably feel a lot better opening up. And what I'm about to talk about in a second ties in very, very well. So I open up to, let's say, I'm just trying to think the correct stats off the top of my head. Well, roughly there's about 67 people in total that go to this service place that I go to, but we get split up into groups of 3 or groups of 4, depending on how many people turn up. Now, this service that I use, I would highly, highly, highly recommend it, but this is a big but as well. Don't know why I'm doing that, because that's a small thing. It's a big but. And the big but is it's for men aged 18 plus. So obviously you have to be male and you have to be 18 or over. And it is a confidential place for men to go and open up and talk about their feelings, because, there's people there that go and talk about the feelings, and they're a lot older than myself. Now, back in their day, in their generation, they got told to shut the fuck up, basically. Shut up and man up. What are you crying for? Crying's a sign of weakness. You're a man. Act like one. Do you know? All that sort of stuff. And we're in a day and age where it's more acceptant for people to go through things. Well, not go through things, but for people, when I say people, I mean men, to talk about their feelings. And, people will listen to it more. But back then, it was frowned upon. And this place that I go to is absolutely amazing. I can't talk highly enough of it. And it's on every Monday from 7 o'clock, finishes about 9. Sometimes you can go over. And you get asked 5 questions. And the first 3 questions are always the same. So it's, how's your week been? Any positives? And anything to get off your chest. Now, them 3 questions always remain the same. But the last 2 questions are more light-hearted questions to get you thinking and, to leave you on a positive than leaving you on a negative, which I personally think is absolutely fantastic. Now, the service in question has been running for quite a few years, and you can go in person, or if you don't feel comfortable to go in person, you can actually go onto their website. Now, you're probably sat there thinking, but what service is it that you're going to? Because you just keep saying this service in question. Sorry if that came through the mic then. I didn't mean to bang the table, just caught my elbow. But the service in question is called Andy's Man Club. Yes, Andy's Man Club. And I believe they started in 2017, I want to say. Now, I hold up my hands and I do apologise if that is incorrect information, but I'm 100% certain. Now, I've been going to Andy's myself roughly for about 3 years because I was in a very, very, very dark place. Let me tell you that for a fact. Very, very dark. And my head wasn't at where it's at now. Let's put it that way. I was having intrusive thoughts. I just wanted to hurt myself all the time. Every time I seen a knife, I just want to pick it up and slit my wrist, slit my throat. I've had a knife to my throat. I've put it there myself. I've tried to jump off a bridge, but, well, I didn't try as such, but I was planning, and it takes a lot of balls doing all this. And people who have, hurt themselves, people who have harmed themselves, took drugs, or they have took tablets to try and overdose themselves. It takes a lot of hard work and preparation to do all this sort of stuff. Now, I'm not encouraging anyone to do any of these things, so please don't be sitting here thinking that, oh yeah, I'm going to go try and do this, or I'm going to try and do that. So please don't try and do anything irrational, please, because you are enough and you are loved. So again, going back to Andy's Man Club, it is a fantastic service. So you can either go in person, which is on a Monday, from 7 till 9, and obviously you just go in, sit down, wait for everyone to turn up. I think it's a 15-minute grace the wait for. After 15 minutes, the start. I think that's the correct way. Again, I'm not 100% certain. I'm not a facilitator. I'm just a service user for the club. Now, you go in, you sit down, and you get split off into groups of 3 or 4, depending on how many people turn up. Now, once you're in your little groups, there is a football, a black one, and it's got a hand like this, saying it's okay to talk. Now, that's Andy's Man Club's logo, is that. And They just ask you a few questions, like I just mentioned just then. Once the ball's in your hand, it is your turn to speak or your time to speak. Or if you do not wish to speak or say a word, you don't have to say anything. You can just go down and listen to what other people have to say. Now, you could probably go down and not talk for a day, a week, a month, a year. But it's knowing other men are going through stuff, and it's not nice, but it is at the same time, if that makes sense. So you are not on your own. So if you are listening into this podcast right now and you're struggling yourself, I would highly, highly recommend Andy's Man Club. So you're probably sat there wondering, where's my closest Andy's Man Club? How do I get all this information? Very, very good question. Very, very good question indeed. Now, if you go on to Google and you type in Andy's Man Club, it will come up straight away. Or if you don't want to do it that way, you can type in www.andysmanclub.co.uk. Again, it is www.andysmanclub.co.uk. Now, what I will do as well is I will leave a link in the description of the video so you can go on it that way as well. And like I said, you go on to the website, you can then go to your closest location, and on the website, I'm led to believe you just type in your postcode and it will come up with the location of what's closest to you. Now, I live in Ashton, and my closest AMC to me, obviously Andy's Man Club, we'll call it AMC for short, abbreviate it. So my AMC club is at Ashton United Football Grounds. Now, they do try and tend to put them with a football club as well. I'm not sure what the reason behind that is, but that's all I know. So you just type in www.andysmanclub.co.uk, go to the website, go to location, type in your postcode, and it will come up with the closest venue to you. Now, talking about the website as well, you can go on there and they do an online version of Andy's Man Club. Again, same day, same time. So it's on a Monday from 7 o'clock till 9. Now, if you don't feel confident sitting in a room full of blokes and you're dead anxious, nervous, whatever you're feeling, you can attend online. Now, I've never attended the online sessions, so I'm not too sure how it's all laid out. I don't know the rundown or anything, so I'm not going to sit here and try and explain it to you when I physically don't know. If I knew about it, I would relay it back to you. So all the information that I'm giving you about Andy's Man Club, I know from first-hand experiences because I have been there. I understand it and everything. So, again, if you are looking to go to something like this, I would highly, highly, highly recommend it because you meet like-minded people and it's nice to talk. It is good to talk. It's okay to talk as well. And we need to stamp down on the stigma of men not being able to talk about their personal feelings. So, obviously, if you are a new person to Andy's Man Club, after the session, you will be joined into a closed Facebook group. Now, this closed Facebook group is an extension of Andy's Man Club, and you can post anything in there within reason. So if you're feeling down, you can put, "Hi guys, I'm a bit down. Does anyone fancy meeting up for a coffee and a chat? Could really do with a chat with anyone. If anyone's free at this date, this time, gonna go to this location." And people will be like, yeah or nay. And it's more like a brotherhood there. Everyone gets on with everyone, and it's absolutely fantastic. I can't speak highly enough of it. Oh, just to mention as well, as a little incentive, you do get free tea, coffee, and biscuits. So, what's not to love? Sitting down with men, talking about your feelings, having a sip of your coffee or your tea, whatever it is, and obviously having some biscuits or some cakes. We've even had pizza there. And I don't go for the snacks or anything, because if I went for the snacks, I'd be a bit bigger than I am now. Do you know what I mean? I'm just a skinny dude. So, with saying that, again, I would highly, highly, highly recommend going. Please just check out the website. You don't have to attend. Like I said, you can just go on the website and check it out yourself. See what it's about. Read up the information. It is signposted everywhere. Everywhere I go in Manchester, I see it all the time. Football clubs, I see it in the train station. I've seen it on billboards when I get the bus into town. And I think it's absolutely amazing what they do, the movement that they are making, what they stand for. And yeah. So that's basically the episode. And I just want to say a massive thank you to Andy's Man Club. And my condolences to Andy, who actually passed away, who took his own life. That's the reason why this club started, was because of a gentleman called Andy who took his own life, and I want to say it's his brother-in-law and his mum set this up in 2017 or 2018, and it went from there. It started off with about 3 or 4 people turning up, and it grew bigger and bigger and bigger. It's gone wider and wider. So, yeah. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. And I hope to see you on the next episode. Don't forget, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Make sure this episode gets spread around, because it is a very important message. Now, I am trying my best to get guest speakers to come on to talk about their situations and how they have coped, or how they are coping with their struggles in life. So if you are wanting to come on, please contact me on Facebook, and we will book you in. Well, I will book you in, and we will go from there, basically. So thank you very much for tuning in, and I hope to see you on the next episode. Thank you very much. See you soon.